Join me tonight in a journey through the ages as we uncork the finest 17-year-old whiskey that has been patiently maturing to perfection. From the enchanting aromas to the captivating flavors, these whiskies were more than just a drink. They are a testament to the artistry of time itself. Get ready to savor the essence of sophistication in every sip as we explore my hand-picked selection of top 5 17-year-old whiskies. Now, the first thing that comes to mind is why stop at 17? Well, I know they went to 15, maybe had a quick taste, maybe it wasn't good, maybe they got to 16, 17, maybe it was perfect for them. Well, then why not just wait an extra 3 years and do a cool 20? So yeah, 17 for me is a little bit of an obscure number. But of course, there must be a reason, and I would love to hear from all you, my subscribers. What do you think? Why did they stop at 17, and why was 17 the perfect number for them? Now, with a little bit of research and digging through the Google search and looking for how many 17-year-olds whiskey was produced over the last, 10, 15, maybe 20 years. So I was quite surprised. There was way more 17-year-olds that was produced that I didn't even know about it. Well, or maybe my wallet will say it's a good thing that I didn't know about it. And just to mention a couple of them, we are looking at the Macallan 17-year-old Fine Oak. We're looking at Glenfiddich 17-year-old Fine Solera. We have the Lefroy 17, Addervelde 17, Bunnahabhain 17, Benriach 17, Glendronach 17, Tomaten made one, Glenmorangie, Royal Brackla, Glengoyne, Auchentoshan, I'm not so sure about that one, Stratwell, just to name a few of them. So for me, tonight it's about 17-year-old whiskies, ones that I've tried, and I picked my top 5 17-year-old whiskies, and I think there might be a little bit of a surprise. Not one that I've mentioned already. Those ones are a little bit out of my price range, especially the Macallan. But of course, yeah, I am a fanboy, and I am not shy to admit that I'm a Macallan fanboy. I saw an online live YouTube the other day, and the people was not, they were not kind to Macallan. Well, I stand up for Macallan. I do like them. So in no particular order, I am just going to give you a little bit of maybe a nosing and a tasting note, just a quick video, and just to give my impressions on the top 5 17-year-old for me that I've tasted over the last 2.5 years. So in no particular order, I'm going to start off with a Craig Allengy 17-year-old. Natural color, non-chill filtered, ex-bourbon cask, and they have also a sherry cask finish. It is light, it's fruity, it's apples. There's a nice light pear note to it, pleasantly sweet. Pineapples, super friendly. It's a little bit like walking down a orchard or apple orchard in summertime. All the blossoms are on the trees, that fragrance that come out, absolutely fantastic on the nose. And then you are hit with a little peach note, and you're hit with a little bit of a vanilla note. On the taste, a little bit of a surprise. There's a little bit of an alcohol kick that comes out. There's a little bit of a oakiness that comes out. There's a little bit of a tannin that comes out. A little bit of a surprise, and I think it is a good surprise just to tone down that little sweetness that comes out. There's a toffee apple note. There's a little bit of a hard candy note. There's a little bit of a sour note coming out. all this nice flavors that just go mingles and just join up, go into the nose, onto the palate. Fantastic. So that is definitely number one on my list. The second one on my list is the Balvenie 17-year-old. Oh my word, it is the double wood edition. Wow. Now that is something that is really up my alley. Of course, ex-bourbon, that's a sherry cask, only 43% ABV, but at least it's 3% better than the 40%, so give them that. This one, definitely give it a little bit of time in the glass, just to give it time to open up and release some of the aromas. It can be a little bit tight if you just pour it. 17 years in the barrel, it needs time to breathe a little bit. This is a sweet sherry monster for me. It's got a tropical fruit note, a citrus note. They have a sweet marmalade note, that orangey marmalade note to it. They have dark honey, they have maraschino cherries coming out, they have that vanilla, they have the sherry, there's a little bit of a dusty oaky note. Oh my word, it is fantastic on the notes, and of course with the taste, oh yeah, it is sweet, it is spicy, it's oaky, it is dark chocolate, it's got that double oak component is definitely shining through, that oakiness, earthiness, that darkness that comes out of that taste. Oh, it is really nice. The sherries that you get the raisins and you get that chocolate note. So definitely something that I would recommend, and give it a try. Let me know what you think about it. Number 3 on my list, Glenfarclas 17-year-old. Now, I am a little bit of a fanboy. Well, Macallan, Glenfarclas, I just love the idea of Glenfarclas, that family, old traditional whiskey. And of course, they are quite a master of sherried whiskies. Not all of them was for me perfect. Some of them can be a little bit on the bitter note. And I think that is got to do with the European oak cask, can bring sometimes out a little bit of a tannin, a little bit of a bitter note, a little bit of a espresso note, definitely not dark chocolate, but there is a bitterness to it, and if you are not used to that bitter notes, sometimes it can be a little bit overpowering. Now this one, when I first did a review on it, the nose is fantastic, but I was not super impressed with the taste. And it took me some time. It took a while for me to get used to that little tanniny note, a little bit of that bitter note. Now I tend to gravitate towards something that's sweet, but also a little bit of a tannin in the background, just to balance out the sweetness out. This one is definitely something that I would recommend. It's also bottled at 43% ABV, natural color, matured in sherry butts for a full duration, and I presume it's going to be European oak, so hence the little bit of that spicy tannins coming out. If you look at the nose, you get that lovely toffee notes, that little dark chocolate note, that raisins note, that little raisins covered with chocolate note. You get a little bit of a butterscotchy note. So quite a nice one, nice on the nose, friendly on the nose, and of course on the taste, you get that tannins, you get that oakiness, you get that sherry note, you get that cherries, you get a little raisins, you get a little bit of an apple note, you get a little bit of that oaky note, and then of course with a little bit of time, especially on a fresh bottle, it seems to be a little bit more oaky, and a couple of drops of water also just plays down that oak for me, and it becomes such a lovely whiskey. So definitely something that I would recommend you try, and of course with Glenfarclas it's always a good price. Number 4 on my list, and this is for me a little bit of a controversial one now. I have tried a couple of these expressions, and this for me is the one that I really like. I was not a big fan of the 10-year-old, and then I picked up a 17-year-old, and of course I'm talking about Springbank 17-year-old, and it is fantastic. If you're into that sweet whiskey, if you're into a little bit of a funky note, if you're into that sherried whiskies, that sherry monster whiskies, for me, this one is definitely it. It is fantastic. It is funky. It is sweet. It's stewed fruit. You have raisins, strawberries, vanilla, sweet, a little sweet rum note that I picked on that. Wow, that was for me a little bit of a strange, but it reminded so much of a Guyana rum note, that sweetness, that molassesy note, and a hint of a smoke, just a little comma of a smoke note. And of course on the taste, oh dear, that is just perfect. You have sweet, you have a little bit peaty note, you have the caramel, you have the toffee, you have a little bit of a licorice that I pick up. I have a little bit of a dark honey note, a dark chocolate note. I have a hint of that oakiness coming through, and of course it is bloody good. So definitely one of my favorites. Well, my wallet told me no, forget about it, but of course I had the opportunity to drink it, loved it. Not sure if it's possible for my budget to go back and get another one. Number 5 on my list. Now this is one that I think is rival to one of the best whiskies that I've had. This is a whiskey that I was super excited to try. And of course I'm talking about the Nika Taketsuru 17-year-old. My word, that is incredible. Well, bloody expensive, not going to be a cheap one, but it is stunning. That is a big sherry notes, citrus notes, dark fruits, hint of mint, apples, pears, a little bit of a spicy oak note, vanilla, honey, old leather note coming through, complex. It is got mulberries in it. It's got a little bit of a chocolate note in it. Whew, that is a complex whiskey. That's a fantastic whiskey. It's a friendly whiskey. It's an easy sipping whiskey. Something that I really appreciated. But of course, be aware that once you have tried this one, your life is not going to be complete without owning 1 or 2 bottles yourself. It is so good. It's sweet. It's mellow. It's creamy. It's oily. It feels and tastes like it's an old whiskey, much older than the 17-year-old on the bottle. It's a perfect sherry notes, fruity, apples, pears, a hint of an oak. My word, it is stunning. From nose to taste, absolutely a winner in my book. If I have to pick my favorite, it's going to be it's going to be between the Springbank 17 and the Taketsuru 17. Well, if there's a benefactor out there and he offers me to buy me one, well, I definitely go for the Nika Taketsuru. Oh, fantastic. Close second, of course, the Springbank 17-year-old. So that is my quick short list of 17-year-old whiskies out there. What do you think? Which one do you think I should have added to the list? Maybe I can source one in the future. So thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I see you next time. Cheers.